What is going on, everyone? Today I have a fantastic B&M Hyper roller coaster review set up for you all today. And today, I am reviewing Intimidator, located in Charlotte, North Carolina, at a phenomenal, gorgeous amusement park known as Carowinds. Now, this is a fantastic B&M Hyper, but what are my thoughts on it? I am going to be listing down these categories, and I will be rating it on a 1 to 10 scale. There is no 0, however, 1 is the lowest score, and 10 is the highest score. And after all the categories are finished, I'll be giving it an overall score of 1 to 10. Like I said, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. So, without further ado, let's begin. So first up is the height, and Intimidator is approximately 232 feet tall, so it's higher than a couple of the B&M Hypers out there, but most of them it's only like 2 feet higher than them. Because if you look at a B&M Hyper like Nitro or Diamondback and Behemoth, I believe those are only about 230 feet, so Intimidator is 232 feet. So I'm just going to be giving it an 8 as the score, and it is a great height. It's your average B&M Hyper height, and it is quite the tall roller coaster, so that's why I'm going to be giving it an 8. Now the speed. An Intimidator, I believe, goes about 75 miles per hour. So here's the thing. This is actually one of the slower B&M Hypers out there, but it's still one of the best B&M Hypers out there. Because the speed is fine. 75 miles per hour is fast. So I'm going to be giving it a 7.5, because it's actually right on the cut half of 70 and 80. So I'm not going to be giving it a 7, but I'm also not going to be giving it an 8. So if it was 80 miles per hour, I'd be giving it an 8. But if it's 70 miles per hour, then I'm going to be giving it a 7. So since it's exactly 75 miles per hour, apparently, I'm going to be giving it a 7.5 as the score for the speed. Next up, we have the drop. An Intimidator has a very, very fun drop. I'm going to be giving this drop a 9. Now, here's the thing. This drop is quite the steep drop. It's definitely one of the steeper B&M Hyper drops out there, and I love steep drops. If you've been following me for a long time, I love any steep drop pretty much. I wouldn't give it a steep drop lower than a 9. If it's a great coaster, and it's a big steep drop, too. However, Intimidator is no exception. It's a steep drop. I believe it's about 75 degrees, which is quite the steep drop. And I like this drop. It's a very, very fun and steep drop. So that's why I'm going to be giving this drop a 9. Now the duration. And I believe Intimidator is about around 2 minutes and 20 seconds, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I'm going to be giving it about an 8 or an 8.5. Really, either way it could go. So I'm going to just settle between like an 8.2, 8.3. But it's 8 to 8.5, because I don't really know the exact duration, but I know it's around the 2 minute 20 to 2 minute 30 point mark. But it's a very long ride. It's obviously a nice long ride. It's the average duration for a B&M Hyper, and all B&M Hypers are very long rides. That's why I love B&M Hypers, because they're long rides and they provide great elements during the long ride. Now the airtime, and here's the thing with the airtime. I'm going to be giving this roller coaster a 9 for airtime. This roller coaster has some great airtime moments. It doesn't have a huge amount of airtime moments. It has the same amounts of airtime as a normal B&M Hyper. However, for this B&M Hyper specifically, this probably has one of the more stronger moments of airtime for each ride. If you saw my Lightning Rod vs. El Toro coaster fight, which I think you guys should go check that out, I think you guys will like it and see who wins, you will know that I consider strength of airtime over moments of airtime. So here's the thing. I find Intimidator's strength of airtime the strongest part of airtime. In those huge, massive airtime hills, it provides great airtime. I'm giving it a 9. That is why I'm going to be giving it a 9. It doesn't have a huge amount of airtime moments. However, when it does give the airtime moments, it's phenomenal. Now the intensity, and like most B&M Hypers, Intimidator isn't that intense of a roller coaster. I'm going to be giving this roller coaster a 7 for intensity. So it's above average intensity. You get some nice intense moments over the massive airtime hills and through those turnarounds. It's an intense roller coaster. However, it isn't the most intense that you will ever ride. So don't expect an intense roller coaster when you ride a B&M Hyper, because your expectations will be lost and you'll just start hating on the ride. So I'm just warning you guys right now, don't expect an intense roller coaster from any B&M Hyper. However, expect a more of a fun roller coaster from a B&M Hyper. That's note to note. Now the restraints. And I love, if you've been watching me for at least a year now, then you will know that I love B&M clamshell restraints. And Intimidator is no exception. Like all the other B&M Hypers and B&M Gigas, like Leviathan 32.5, they hold clamshell restraints. I love these restraints. I'm going to be giving the restraints a 10. The restraints on any B&M Hyper or Giga are phenomenal. They're probably my favorite restraints out there, and I love them. They make all the more of a more comfortable coaster, and I love the restraints on this roller coaster. Now the final score before the overall score is the theming. And the theming on this roller coaster is not the best theming. It's a Cedar Fair park, you have to remember that. However, it also isn't terrible theming. You have that big Intimidator from Carowinds Plaza outside. And it really isn't bad theming, but also isn't phenomenal theming. I'm going to be giving this around a 2, because it has that Intimidator Plaza outside. However, during the ride and in the station, absolutely no theming. I mean, you have that old man voice, which is very corny, by the way, in the station before the ride starts running. I don't know what they did with that voice, but Intimidator 305's voice is a lot more innovative. And that's why the theme is going to get a 2, because at least the Plaza has some theming. Now the overall score. What did I think of Intimidator overall? I'm going to be giving this roller coaster a 9.5. I love this roller coaster. It's maybe just my most favorite new B&M Hyper, either right ahead or right behind Diamondback. But it's better than most B&M Hypers that I've ridden. So what do you think of Intimidator? Have you ridden it? If you have, I want to know your thoughts on it, because I love this B&M Hyper. So once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.